Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Come on! Wake up! Wake up!
By a man named Za. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Allamah, Alayyaman. That's Zalayman. Za Allamah founded this dynasty. He peaceably brought Islam to that Songhai region. This is why you don't know if we've been taught that Islam was brought into Africa by way of the sword. So this history has never reached us. But now I'm giving you the research, the references, so that you can go research for yourself now and see that the historical record is 100% all wise, right, and exact. Songhai invasion of Morocco was because of despots that were sitting on the throne. And El Mansur was the sultan over the whole empire. And in being the sultan over the whole empire, his actions of executing other Muslims is what pissed off the sultan in Morocco. So people are getting this thing confused, and they don't even know that it still was internal Islamic strife at that. The Sultan saw that these guys are not practicing Islam. These guys are practicing something else, and they went and they took over that. Well, no, they didn't even take over. They just deposed him and put his brother Muhammad Gao on the throne. Speak to something that Omar Wally said. I don't know if you remember the first time I ever came at you, sis. It was a panel discussion y'all was having, and you said something about Islam, and we had a little debate about Islam, right?
What was it?
I can't remember, but Sanetta recorded it. So one of my books right here. This is called The Walking Quran by Rudolph Bilal Ware. Like, if you haven't read this book, you're not even qualified to have a debate with me on Africa. This is a scholar from out of the University of Michigan that spent years, I don't know if y'all can see that spent years in West Africa doing firsthand studying the records that were written contemporaneously, speaking with the griots there about the history of what happened. And in this book, he speaks about the West African slave trade, and he debunks the myth that Islam is somehow coterminous with slavery, that within the doctrine of Islam, right? Because I have my Quran right here. I'll keep it close for the people, because people don't know nothing about Islam. Sheikh Antidia, what's up?
Lord Abba.
What's up?
Look.
Because a lot of these Pan-Africanists, these Afrocentrists, are taking Christian polemics who wrote against Islam, fantastical history, made up history, and forget this nuance that you want to go conquer West Africa without conquering the East Africa that's right there. If you don't have books like this on the archaeology of sub-Saharan Africa and Islam by Peter Ensor, you're just not qualified. That I got a couple other books. You're not qualified. I got PDFs to have the debate on me. With me. A lot of this stuff that a lot of these people are saying is coming from white supremacy. It is coming from Christianity. Walter Williams' works comes from Christianity, right? A lot of Chancellor Williams' works comes from a destruction of a black civilization, comes from the pens of Christian polemics. A lot of what we're getting is off. And it's
Jamayan Boca, ETM Hotel, Lafayette, everybody out there in the chat, man. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we're live. You can pre-order your copy of the book now. I just sent out about 5 books today, earlier today, so people should have notifications, email notifications of their tracking information. Yeah, you pay, I send ASAP. So the book is out. And I will be dealing with Lord Abba's romanticism of Islam in that particular book in regard to the topic in which you basically heard him say out of his own mouth, right? Islam came peacefully and that history got it wrong. Or these Christians supposedly who wrote about Islam got it wrong. So I guess everybody is coming with this Christian what he called it, fanatic or whatever. But anyway, what brings us here today is a Facebook post that was, let me go ahead and get it on the screen. I told y'all, man, we on the look. This is Devon Teet's page, okay? On the 21st, literally 2 days ago, he makes a post. It says, "Correct me if I'm wrong, but before the Arab invasion, slave trade of Africa, our ancestors knew nothing about Islam and Allah. They had their own spiritual systems and deities. Why are most of our people still following Islam and Allah? That's like saying a stranger knows what's in your best interest better than people that raised you. Break the chains. Let's grow." The brother got 95 likes, a lot of support from the people who actually liked his post. True enough and indeed. Let me get Sutek in here. And they should, right? It's a good post.
Hey, is that my shit or is you? It seemed like you was cutting out
Could be you.
right now though.
Okay. We can see. Nah, it looked like everybody could hear me in the chat.
Oh, all right, it might have been me.
But so we get to this point to where we have this post. Good post, 125 comments. So let's peruse through some of these comments. All right, they're going to get interesting. Now, we're going to deal specifically with what the title says in this bill, but I just want to kind of go through some of the stuff. Now, Devon, I don't know if you're tapped into the build or if you're too busy or whatnot, but if
I put the link on it on that post. Actually, I'm all through that post. I'm trying to get at everybody.
Yeah, so cool. If you want to send them the direct link to join the panel, that's fine too. We can have this conversation because I need answers. I have questions and I need answers. Like as a researcher, I got research questions that hopefully they got the answers to already. And then I'm gonna go behind them and fact check them. So Olawale Iyanle says, ask Muslims, what is the Muslim late afternoon prayer? And then OG Tula, some of the great ancestors were Muslims or religious, bro. It has its right to exist, even though I agree with you. But it's more about the character than anything. You see how they always go back to this perspective that like one can't have character unless one has a religious belief. Devon responds to Tula and says, but Tula, he be, apologizing sometimes when I be seeing him in the streets. Yeah, Malcolm and a few others were a small percentage compared to the others. Malcolm put the rate first. Majority of Black Muslims won't do that. They do what the leadership tells them to do. And then he says, one day we'll build on that in person because he did some wild shit as well. See what I'm saying? He makes a point and then he deters. All right, I don't want to read the rest of that back and forth. I'm gonna go on. The other one says, and let me summer jam it a little bit bigger. All right, so my bad. So now y'all can see it. So we're gonna go down to Dimitri Sharp. He says because Arabs ran a massive African slave trade long before the transatlantic slave trade that lasted for a few thousand years. Muambi says Bilal, and then Sutek says slave, and then Muwabi says answered the question no, and then he says watch his steps. He says hopefully that's not a threat. Anyhow, Bilal was a slave. What relevance is he? So Zahir says, I don't know, religion somehow escapes all other critiques. They don't know how to move on, still stuck in the past. And then here go the book. Sute gonna drop the book on everybody talking about this.
They need to pick it up, man. All that apologizing and all that, man. Yeah, ain't nobody on that sourcing up.
Yeah, I can see that. So Sute dropped the book. Devon says, thanks for the recommendation, fam. Does that say Masu Warrior Clan? Devon says, yep. And then he said, get a black fist. Said, make the post plug with fam. I need to share. And he said, done. So there you go. Zahir comes back. It's colonialism of the mind. That's the answer. And then Malika says, I love Malcolm X, but like Huey Newton says, I never had a desire to become a Muslim. I'm not sure what the truth is, but I'm really digging this Ifa class. Shout out to Malika. And then David, my guess is that out of one of the three monotheistic religions, visually and in terms of language, Arabic that comes within Islam is the most ethnic, non-Western, non-European, and the closest to what we were practicing as animists in Africa. Islam, to me, is the monotheistic, patriarchal Arabic version of ancient Egyptian animism spirituality, if that makes sense. David, I don't know. We have to we would have to really have a conversation and break that down, David, in what you basically said. But I'm not gonna get into that. And then Rafiq says the Book of Glory of the Black Races gives an excellent breakdown of your question. Hold on, let me make sure whoever popping in and out is in. Okay, cool. All right, and then next up we have Ziki Sweet. She says, you stepping into some tricky waters here. People don't mind when you question Christ, but you bet not question Allah. And Tiffany, she speaks, certain countries West Africa accept Islam more so than they did with Christianity. It became a cultural practice. He says, regardless, no Arabs equals no Islam. And she says, right. Everett, Arabs first contact came after the Greeks. It was a main central part of our spirituality. They blew the nose off the Sphinx. You see where this is going? It's the Arabs didn't blow the nose off the Sphinx. They enslaved and still enslaved. Language origin started with those pyramids. It is true culture. You can you see where he going with that, right? It's some stuff in there that we can correct, and then there's some stuff in there that you could kind of say, you kind of got this right, but you might want to look at it like this and hash out what you're saying. All right. Mansa Musa, again, it's my understanding that all of this shit originated with us. That's his understanding. Dr. Clark breaks this down thoroughly and gives references to his other works. I would like to see Dr. Clark say that that Islam came from Africa. On the other note, Chancellor Williams with the destruction of black civilization, as well as Hubert Hermestein, I don't know what he mean. Oh yeah, in his work with Black Summa. Listen, all of that is ours. We talk. You see what I'm saying? This is why they throw blackology out there. This needs corrections, and it needs to be fixed. And as you can see, Sutek is here saying Islam was created by Arabs and Jews, fam. And then it gets interesting. Qox Scarborough says, I agree with you, but there's African Islam and there's Arab Islam. They're different. Devon says, how so? Sutek says, what is African Islam? Islam is Islam. There's different sects, but essentially it all originates with the Arabs. And then he comes back and he says something to Sutek along these lines. Actually, it doesn't. Islam descends from an Ethiopian spiritual order that worship the daughters of Alet. This was adapted out of the Sabah, which is Saudi Arabia. They took from Kemet science and this Sabaean culture to create Islam. Later on, Sequoia Torre and other African Muslims mixed it with African spirituality and used it for liberation. Sutek asked for a source, but it says ancient Kemet science in all Islam. Do your research, study up. Sutek said, we live. You should have sent him the link to get on there and kind of clear that up. So before we get into the other 25 comments, I am going to let the brothers take over at this particular period and let them introduce themselves. So give me a second. I'm gonna mute out, and I see we got Black Panther on the panel and Sutek to elaborate.
I'm gonna let Black Panther go in, man. Man,
I was gonna say the same thing to you.
Man. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, it's ridiculous. They go all over the place. He don't went to Kemet, the Sabaeans. Like, nah, bro. This is Arab religion. This is Arab culture, and I try to explain to them, religion is cultural. You are practicing the culture of Arabs.
But you gotta see the hearsay and what's being communicated by many people. You can tell the people commenting are using information that they've heard and not researched themselves. Because otherwise you wouldn't hear the claims that you hear if you had people that actually read the script of Meta Nature or studied the history of Islam. This is a lot of hearsay. This is a lot of I heard, I watched on Hidden Colors, I my boy told me type of information being repeated. But I am going to shock people a little bit because I agree there is such a thing as African Islam. I agree, and this is what I mean by that. There's so much syncretism in Africa. You will find these little pocket Islamic sects that don't behave like Orthodox Islam. They're not Sunnis. They're not Shiites. They're really not even Sufis. They kind of do their own thing. And it's really weird when you come across them. Like there's a hunter group. They actually dress like traditional hunters. So if you saw them, you might think they were Ogun worshipers, but they're Islamic worshipers, but they just don't adhere to all of the orthodox tenets of Islam that you would find in a Sunni and Shiite. And they're not special in that regard. You'll find people that do that. It's just mass syncretism. But at the end of the day, all roads still lead back to Allah. Don't get it confused. And if all roads lead back to Allah, it's no different from Black Judaism that some people call Hebrew Israelite. It's no different from the Black church. It's still Christianity. You can put your own spin on it. You can put your own whatever you want on it. But at the end of the day, all roads lead back to Saudi Arabia, to that meteorite that they got in that casing that they called the Kaaba. And that's where your allegiance lies to. You're not chanting, stuff in your native language. You're saying it in Arabic. So the cultural practice in which you speak about, Brother Sutek, is correct, because you are practicing the culture of Arabs, even if you put your own twist on it. So, because people like to bring up Brother Malcolm, and we love Brother Malcolm, and You know, we identified what Brother Malcolm did and his politics and what he stood for, but the NOI as a organization, they're not practicing Orthodox Islam either. All it, like you can't. That's why a lot of them go into Mecca, because when you get to Mecca and you tell them people that Elijah Muhammad is the true living God, you're gonna have an issue. And I mean, an issue like you might not make it out of there. So, you know, all roads lead back to Allah. It's an Arab culture. We make excuses, and that's my position.
I agree. If you're going back to Allah, like you said, that's Arab culture. You have to follow the tenets of Allah and His messenger. So I mean, you know, Allah came from that Saudi Arabia area. So did the Prophet Muhammad. Like you say, we got people reworking histories to make themselves from that Middle Eastern region. Like it's I describe it as cultural destruction. Um, a lot of these groups that adhere to Orthodox Islam, uh, they put their traditional culture to the side and they demonized it, which is essential in Islamic culture. They not trying to hear nothing about no Ogun or no Shango. Though they ain't trying to hear nothing about no voodoo or no home. Like yeah, that's straight Arab stuff.
So much so that like even those sects that I talked about earlier, Orthodox Islam or Orthodox Muslims, they don't look at those people as Muslims. They don't look at those people as their brothers in Islam. They look at those people just like they would look at a Christian, or just like they would look at me as a practicer of Isheshe. They look at us as idolatry worshipers. You know, you ain't doing it right type shit, you know. Just like an Episcopalian looks at a Baptist, you know, whatever you doing over there, I don't like it. So, you know, it's very, you have to get into this culture. And being that I lived in Saudi Arabia for 7 months, I seen it, and I seen the disrespect and intolerance of anything that is not Islam. That is their cultural stance on things that are not Islam. That's their cultural personality. So we're all infidels. Everybody that's on here that's not practicing, you know, Islam in its orthodox form, we're all infidels. We're all, you know, idolaters. We're all of the negative words that they call us. They might even call us kafirs if you're black. So that's their perception of us, because we are not following the Prophet Muhammad. So you know, that still goes on to this day. It still goes on in Mauritania. It still goes on in Mali. It still goes on in Egypt. It still goes on in many North African culture countries, Libya. And this is just on the continent. So if you go to what they deem the Middle East, it's even worse. Like they force you to be a part of their culture if you go there. Like if you're anywhere during a prayer time, you're gonna be locked in a store and you're not gonna be able to leave until they're done praying. I've been locked in many stores. So I mean, it's an Arab culture. I get it. People try to put their own spin on it throughout the years. But for some reason, man, we give Islam the ultimate pass. And I know why, you know, because of people like Malcolm and Elijah and Clarence 13X and other people that have taken Islam for themselves and tried to tweak it to the black struggle. I get it. But in my mind, it's no different. All roads lead back to Allah.
No, it's too. They reject Christianity and adhere to Islam and say that Christianity is a slave religion. I'm like, how ironic is that?
Yeah, that's that. I mean, the Arab slave trade is something that's always like swept under the rug. We go straight to the transatlantic, and I'm like, yo, the Arab slave trade was worse.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what nobody say. When you put the two on paper, you lay down all the facts. The Arab slave trade was way worse. First of all, it was 13. It was near 1,300 years. So we talk about a longer amount of time of as Sheikh Antajoke would say, barbarism. And they murdered. Like, they made us eunuchs. They if an African woman that they were, raping or sleeping with was pregnant, they would kill her amongst finding she was pregnant. Like, people don't know why those North African countries look the way they look today, and it's because of practices like that. If you make the men eunuchs and you kill the women that are pregnant, what do you think happens to the population over time?
Changes.
So when you look at those countries in North Africa today, and people, because some different people ask these questions, they be like, well, why does Algeria, Libya, Egypt, parts of Niger, parts of Mali, parts of Chad, why do they look like this? Parts of Mauritania, why don't they look like the people that we think of when we think of Africans? Why don't they look like sub-Saharan Africans? I'm telling you why they don't look like that. Murder, slavery, death. That's why. And it ain't stopped. You go to Libya today and you don't say nothing and let people know that you're an American, you could be kidnapped today. 2022. Ain't nothing changed. Their perception of you ain't changed. And I'm gonna be honest, when I was in Saudi, all of the darker Arabs, they got all the menial jobs. They got all the menial jobs. While the lighter Arabs, they all got the desk and jobs with the air conditioning. Ain't nothing changed. And brother Sean has a chapter about how race is affected and how it comes into the the thing with Islam in his book. So I suggest people get it, man, and I suggest people pick it up and we just stop making excuses. If you're gonna demonize Christianity, and rightfully so, you're gonna have to demonize Islam as well, because I got news for you. It probably would not have been a transatlantic slave trade if it wasn't for the Arab one.
Yep, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm. They gave him the blueprint.
They gave him the blueprint, and at some point, some of them were even working for him during the Arab slave trade.
Yep, grabbing slaves, slave trade.
Soaking up the game, soaking it up. How we gonna take over? You gotta stop giving that pass, man. That's
how you let this comment go, Sutek? Because you ain't well, but you ain't right here on this. You ain't right here on that Mustafa El Amin book.
Man, I ain't
It's a Freemasonry, ancient Egypt, and Islamic history.
Destiny.
I don't really know what that's supposed to prove, because Freemasonry is not an exclusive to any culture on the planet. They pick from a lot of different cultures. I know a lot of people like to highlight what they got from Egypt, and I'm not saying that's not true, but you'll also find stuff from Persia in there. You'll also find stuff from Christianity. You'll also find stuff from Islam. You'll also find stuff from Judaism. Like, Freemasonry is an amalgamation of different cultures placed into a system in order to teach lessons to make men improve their character. That's all Freemasonry is.
There's so many things wrong with this comment. The
Arabs deciphered a millennium before
the French. The Euros pretty much just follow suit of the Arabs.
Is he talking about there was an Arab dude before Champollion.
There was an Arab dude.
Can't remember his name.
It's in our one of them books we got over here somewhere where we get a name, and we had an argument for but it wasn't pluralized.
Yeah, he said Arabs. Like,
yeah.
nah, bro.
There was an Arab that was essential in bringing information forward. But you know, this Arab, you kind of go there. But
remember his name.
Yeah, we weren't thinking about it. I mean, we said his name before on shows. I actually got the source somewhere. I can pull it. All your boy shows up. Ask Africans why, and they'll tell you. They're your boy, Sutek. But let's stay right there based on where Sutek interjects with the brother, because that's pretty much the topic of the show. So I want to kind of take this off the screen real quick, and I want to go into a book, which I have in the description of it, and I'm not going to read it all because it's like 900-page book. But I want to let y'all know what the book is called, right? And this is what the book is called. Let me get this off the screen. And you should be able to see it very clearly.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Handbook of Islamic Sects and Movements. So this pretty much answers one of the things that you already heard Panther say, and it gets into these different sects, right? You heard him mention the core of Islam, and then how it breaks up into all these other things. So this 816-page book, I don't want nobody to spend their time getting into this.
Hey, I didn't even know you had this book when I talked about them Islamic sects either, bro. I promise I didn't, because they could be, oh, they clicked up and they read the same information. I've never seen this book before in my life. I just know the sects from personal experience, but damn,
yeah,
that's a lot of.
Yeah, so like it's in parts, the Sunni, and then it breaks down the Sunni. If you're not paying attention to anybody in the chat that might not be looking, so part 1 is about the Sunni traditions, and then it gives you an introduction, and then it starts breaking down the Sunni sects. And then part 2 is the Shiite traditions, and then it starts breaking them down. And then part 3, fundamentalists and extremists.
Oh, they got the Taliban in there?
Yeah, the Taliban is in the book, man. The Taliban is in the book.
Wow.
Right.
In the flesh.
And the Hamas. And you know, they break all of them down and keep on going through all of that. And then they go through part 4.
Oh, here comes
and its influence. So Sufism is important because this is directly the sect of Islam that is known to us pretty much.
Yeah, West Africa.
This is us in the West, right? The western part of the western central part of Africa. This is what's known to Sufism, right? And it goes through and it breaks things down. Now,
what is Ibadi's fall? How you say that shit? Because the first form of Islam that was in West Africa, Ibadi.
This right here.
No, that's Ahmadiyya.
They
got them under. See, look at that right there.
Is Ahmadiyya.
Yeah,
this is fringe. Right. Look, they call them fringes of Islam.
So this is what I talk about in my African Spirituality 101 presentation. When I talk about folk, that's folk. Go back up, Sean.
My bad.
Look at all these. Look at what they got here. They got
Nation of Islam.
They got NOI. They got Moorish Science Temple. They got the Ansar Allah community. For those that don't know, that's Dr. York's brand of Islam before he moved on to Egyptian studies. So they got the Baha'i faith. I actually know a sister that's the Baha'i. That's a Baha'i. This is folk Islam. So these are the non-approved versions, the bastard versions, if you will, of Islam, according to Orthodox Muslims. This is them. So they don't approve of none of that shit. None of that shit you see. They turn their nose up to that.
All in America, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
All in America. They don't recognize it one lick a bit.
That's why they in part 5. They ain't in part 1 through 4.
Right.
Part 5.
So to go back to part 1, I think Sutek, hold up. I think I got a source that's gonna answer your question regarding the
body.
But anyway, I just wanted to let y'all know a book exists with all the sects in it and how it's broken down. And they go through and they provide that information for us. And as you can see, it's an 816-page book, and it's no joke, right? And we can get into, you know what I mean, what this book says about all these folk religions, specifically the NOI and the Moorish Science Temple. But I just wanted to let people know that this book, you can look it up. You probably can you should be able to find a PDF for this book, Handbook of Islamic Sects and Movements. It's published by Brill, and it's inclusive. 2014. The book was written in 2014, compiled. So there's a lot of. I'm trying to get to the recent issue of violence on the part of Islamic organizations experienced by Muslims across the globe. Blah. I'm trying to get out of that first part and see what it says, Sutek, before I move on. So part 1, Sutek fell out. Panther, I think you got to add him back.
Be back.
Okay. But overwhelming majority of today's world's 1.8 billion Muslims are Sunni. The key doctrinal difference and cause for the divergence of the Shia Muslims from the Sunnis is based on the contested leadership of the Islamic community following the death of the Prophet. Sunnis believe that the 4 caliphs, Abu Bakr al-Siddiq, Umar ibn al-Khatib, Uthman ibn Affan, and Ali ibn Abi Talib, who led the Ummah after the death of Muhammad, were legitimate leaders of the Islamic community and were rightly guided by Allah. This contrasts with the Shiite view that only Allah and his progeny were the rightful successors of the Prophet, and that the first 3 caliphs were thus illegitimate. So there you go. When you start forming things. And then since the initial split, Sunni and Shiite communities around the world have formed distinctive cultures and religious responses to their own changing circumstances. The Sunnis today are a diverse group, and then it goes on into all of that. But that's pretty much how it goes. So you're going to see this mimicked in these sources that I left in the description of the video, right? So many sources say there's 2 main sects, so they don't give credence to the other 2 sects that come after the Sunni and the Shiite. And then they kind of go on to say pretty much the same thing that you can see in that text, and that's from history.com. I even got Muslim for Dummies. But see, this one's going to say the same thing and deal with the Sunni, Shiite, Sufis, and Baha'is, or all this other stuff, and then continue to go on. And then was that the Dummies? Yeah, that's the Dummies. And then the major branches of Islam is going to speak directly to the major branches. and deal with that. Sutek, you said what was the word? You're on mute. Ibadi. Okay.
See, I'm on the page.
I'm gonna have to go into one of my other books and pull it up. There you go. There go. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Another lesser known branch of Islam is Ibadi. The denomination predates Sunni and Shia. So there go your answer, and is considered highly orthodox version of Islam. They share the Shia's belief that God will not show himself on Judgment Day. And like the Sunni and Shia, the Ibadi believe that the Muslim community can rule itself without a single leader. The Ibadi also differs in that they do not agree that the Muslim ruler must be a descendant of Muhammad's tribe. So 75% of the population of Oman is Ibadi.
I wonder if they mean Oman, the city in Saudi Arabia, or Oman, the country.
So let's go.
Oh, they mean the country.
So because, and look how
there's a city like on the edge,
right?
Where I was in Saudi called Oman,
and the Gulf of Oman,
Bahrain,
right? And this this is Western Saudi Arabia, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Eastern, Far East, because the Arabian Sea is right here.
Yeah, that's the whole joint right there. Yeah, that's where they had them attacks a couple of years ago.
So that's how they feel. But this also speaks to, like, when people read the book, you're going to see probably, well, I know you're in the beginning, in the earlier parts, when building the arguments up and trying to lead throughout the book, you're going to see me mention how Islam, how it got to Africa, but you're going to see that the Prophet Muhammad and his version, and I'm saying his version because his version is, you know what I mean, begins to be the one that's made popular, so to say. He had some sauce, you know, although there was other pockets of Islam earlier on that predate the coming, like he's the last prophet, right? The other prophets that came before him, you know, they were teaching these things and all of that, but he's the one true prophet, or whatever the hell how they said, you know what I mean? And so that's important. So Sutek, there go your answer to your question.
And so were they pre-Islamic prophets, or was he talking about prophets like Jesus?
He says that there was prophets before him.
Yeah,
he ain't say pre-Islamic.
Right, right.
Yeah, he just said there was other prophets before him. You know what I mean? But he's the last prophet. But he also indicated something about, I think it's in there. But I know the NOI teach that old stuff about Jesus and all that.
Yeah, I know. He in the Quran a lot.
I think his name is Isu.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, he's in there.
Well, yeah, I would. Yeah. I see you, Infinite. He said he just downloaded that book, but yeah, I mean, you can find a book there. JSTOR will let you even get the book. You can locate it through JSTOR if you can anywhere else. Me, I have another way of getting the book. However, that's how pretty much how I got it, but it is what it is. But I want to
cheat code.
Yeah.
You got the cheat code.
It's being fault, bro.
Trigger Happy says, he said, I heard some people try to downplay Arab slave trade by saying the Arab slave trade wasn't chattel slavery. That's bullshit, man.
Right.
Wow. Bro. Oh man, that's funny. I mean, we so in love with Islam that we willing to overlook all that savagery.
Mm-hmm. So for everybody,
how bad the Arab slave trade is. If you put in Arab slave trade in Wikipedia, it will bring up several countries. It was so big they had to break it down. You'll see slavery in Tanzania, slavery in Libya, slavery in Mauritania. Like they had to break the shit down.
They had to do it in sections.
Yeah, it's so much. 1,300 years. And and people try to act like they was playing nice for 1,300 years.
Right. Dude said that on that post though. Islam been in Africa for for over 1,000 years.
Yeah, pillaging and plundering.
Right. He didn't say what they was
Chopping off
doing
genitals
for
and
1,000
all
years.
that for 1,000 years.
Yeah, he just say he didn't say what they was doing for 1,000 years, but he was just trying to make the argument that it been there. Okay, Christianity been there for 2,000 years. What's the point? But to all of the people that's looking at the NOI, it was established in 1930 in Detroit, Michigan, by Far Muhammad. That's the argument. That is the gist of how Islam is spread, and then you had people to go look up who this dude was and find out who he was and how he identified, and then they put him on the screen.
That's their prophet Muhammad, ain't it?
Yeah, this day Prophet Muhammad is Fard Muhammad. He's the prophet.
Master Fard Muhammad, as they
Uh-huh.
say, WD, who
Yeah.
we're pissing people off. Well, I was saying like Clarence and 13X said. It was a white boy.
Exactly. The white boy.
And Clarence 13X said, if white boy can be God, why can't I?
I mean, shit, they ain't seen his picture.
Right.
They know he a
But they
white
denied
boy.
it though. Remember, you had the Moors denying it. You had other people that was denying that the dude was white.
I didn't have people pull up that picture and look me in my face and tell me that ain't no white.
Yeah, man, I can't trust you no more when you say some shit like that,
man. I can't even go to the store with you. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I ain't see you get jumped. Yeah, all right.
Police was just doing their job.
But look though, for people that really wanted to get into it, I know you don't want to really piss your brothers off, the NOI and stuff like that, because they like to try to intimidate people, but this goes into every aspect of what there is. There's no step back from this. The NOI taught that that Islam was the original religion of black people, stolen from them during the era of the transatlantic slave trade, and beacon them to abandon Christianity, which the movement said had bound them in both physical and mental chains. Introducing the original form of Islam religion that interpreted historical Islamic traditions through the prophecies of its charismatic leader Elijah Muhammad, the NOI advocated separate black business schools, neighborhoods, and state. Thought it used revolutionary theological rhetoric, it skewed both war and violence. Instead, the NOI focused on achieving its goals through the reformation of black American minds and bodies. Peep this. Membership in NOI required careful study and practice of Elijah Muhammad's teachings, which combine Islamic themes with 20th century metaphysical religion, including a belief in UFOs, to produce a version of Islam that included novel theological, cosmological, and eschatological doctrines, as well as devotion to a strict code of middle-class, socially conservative ethics. From a historical Islamic perspective, one most controversial of the teachings was the belief that fraud was God. There you go. The most controversial teaching. In the flesh, and that Elijah Muhammad was the messenger. So the Elijah Muhammad is a prophet. Fraud is God, and Elijah Muhammad is the messenger, so he's the prophet.
And then over time, he become God too.
Right, and then a claim that contradicted both the Sunni and the Shia Islamic traditions.
This is why people like Malcolm and Muhammad Ali later in life said, you know, they were going to practice Orthodox Islam, to include Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They all at one point were, you know, NOI either members and some more people were affiliates, but later in life, they all went to Orthodox Islam because they found out what you just read, that, you know, it ain't what they thought it was.
There's some fake made up junk, bull junk.
Man, it's their version. I just say that. But if you go to Mecca talking that NOI stuff, you ain't gonna have no great experience. That's why Malcolm came back different.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Khalid Muhammad ain't had no good experience when he went to Mecca. He went over there with the NOI. They were looking at him crazy.
Mm-hmm. So basically, these people made up their own rendition of something that really ain't even tied to us. And to say that everybody was practicing Islam before they enslaved us and shipped us over the seas is a little disrespectful in the least, because you still had, listen, this is the crazy part. They were using people who had converted to Islam to enslave people that didn't practice Islam. They didn't begin to start enslaving people by any means necessary until later on in the slave trade. So for, you know, through the earlier part of the 14th, 15th, 16th centuries, getting into the 17th century, you're seeing people enslaved who wouldn't convert. That's why they made those names of those people who would, you know, the the Rafia? I might be saying it wrong. But they were pretty much enslavers, slave raids. That's what they did. But going on to y'all Moorish Science Temple people, those Moors of the world, scholars of African American Islam usually view the Moorish Science Temple of America as a peculiar religious sect. This is understandable given the treacherous terrain that must be traversed to understand the Moorish Science Temple of America. Early source material on the movement remains scant. Its religious creeds tangled in esoteric eclecticism, and their follower narrations bewilderingly conflict one another. Off the rip is telling you that there's problems. There's problems. So yet it remains vital to critically examine the, I guess it's MASTA, given its, because that's the abbreviation, given its significance as one of the earliest Pan-African Islamic organizations in the 20th century. You can't call this Pan-African at all.
Let's say Pan-American
Islamic.
Yeah. I don't say Pan-African.
No, I'm finna say, because look, a doyen of African American Islamic studies have advocated the need for re-examination of the Moorish Science Temple of America through a more critical lens of cultural history. But this is also why Lord Alba that goes to Lord Alba's point, because he hate Pan-Africanists.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something you need to research when it comes to the Moorish Science Temple of America. And a lot of people may not know this, but you may need to research the Peace Stone Rangers.
Oh my goodness.
And their connection to the Moors. You gotta see where this stuff come from, man. You got a lot of people don't know, man. That whole Vice Lord, Gangster Disciple, that whole beef, that's nothing but Allah versus Jesus all over again. Be honest with you.
Look what they say about Noble Drew Ali. He's either treated his murky origins, how you say that damn word? Cursorily or hagiographically exaggerated and romanticized his roots. In short, he faked it. They said it. It's murky. His origins is murky, y'all. Look, murky origins. recent.
Murky, huh? That's how they describe it.
Yeah.
They don't want to go into that. We just gonna say,
look, tampering with Drew's legacy can open Pandora's box with unforeseen circumstances that would bring no discernible benefit to contemporary Moorish American chiefs. Crazy. I mean, I don't want to do it, but it is what it is. But we've got an answer to one of the questions that was posed for this bill, and that is, I agree with you, but there's there's African Islam and there's Arab Islam. So what are the Americans practicing?
Neither.
Pan-American Islam, like they just said.
They not practicing African or Arab. They practicing Islam. African American Islam. Hey, but when you look up the almighty Black Peace Donation, man, they don't hide it. It's right there. It says, in the later years, under Ford's leadership, an Islamic faction gang emerged, naming themselves the El Rukin tribe of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Man, look, I'll be making up stuff, man. Are we making up stuff? That's right there in the shot. And they identified with Orthodox Sunni Muslims later, and made their own thing called El Rukin Moorish Science Mosque. They broke away from the Moorish Science Temple. All that's in their history, man.
So yeah, it makes sense because a few days ago I seen Dirk in a picture praying. Nah, he was praying. He was I ain't no dude was a Muslim.
Makes sense. He might be a peace stone. I mean, he is from Chicago. I mean, you're gonna be in something.
Right.
You're gonna be in something doing what he doing. All them dudes roll together, man. I ain't gonna bring out the white group that they got their sovereignty stuff from. I'm gonna say that.
Shit, nah, break them out. We need to know.
And I said it. That sovereign citizenship come from white folk. It's not an original thought. I'm gonna have to find the video. I got the whole video on it, man. That shit don't come from them. They stole that shit. Just like
that's why they say they're white folks. That's why they disassociate with black and say they white, free white people.
White means purity. White rules the land. That's what they say.
And that's broad because, I mean, okay, it could mean that in a culture or two, some cultures, but that don't mean white don't mean the same thing in every culture around the world. That's not.
Yeah, they took that a little too literal for my taste. A little too literal. But it is what it is. I mean, but going back to the brother's statement, I mean, we made up our own versions here in America to suit our needs. And that is what it is, but we have to be honest that we did that. We have to be honest that happened. We have to be honest when talking about Islam, like, which version are you talking about? We can't act like it's all one thing. And when we find out that, it's different places, you got to break it down like we're doing right now. There's so much layers under that onion, what these people created in the different sects and the different directions that they went into, like, it's crazy. Like, we went all the way from Muhammad to UFOs today. That's how much.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy as hell. Like,
but we ain't done though. We got to go further than that.
oh my god.
We didn't talk about bending prison bars.
Oh man.
Oh no.
He come to eat nails and
So it says, because they say from Newark anyway. But they says the leading faith healer amidst the crowded and competitive religious market, place of seers, mystics, palmists, professors, and princes who taught mystical science since the turn of the 20th century. At this juncture, Drew was still unfazed, unaffiliated to a Moorish lineage, but had already fashioned himself as a true Orientalist Muslim. Now, to give y'all back that date, they're talking about earlier on in his life. Between 1916 and 23, he was not a Moor. He was a Muslim, Orientalist at best, unaffiliated. However, it goes on to say, despite trumpeting Messianic claims of his ability to bend prison bars, Newark's federal penitentiary successfully quarantined Professor Drew physically in the late 1910s and early 20s. Yet, prison walls failed to totally circumscribe Muslim teachings in Newark. As another enigmatic figure took Drew's position to further fan the flame of esoteric folk Islam in the community, with Drew's religious preachings in abeyance. And then here comes Abdul Hamid Suleiman, a Sudanese immigrant, filled the mantle of a charismatic spiritual leader serving Newark's colored community. Suleiman founded an extremely successful Canaanite temple, a Black Mohammedan Messianic movement that operated in various cities, including the corner of a bank and Rugged Street in Newark, and were mere 3 miles from his residence. On the 23rd of April, the popularity of Suleiman's Canaanite temple spectacularly nosedived when Suleiman and his assistant Muhammad Ali were charged and arrested in the Supreme Court of New Jersey for a carnal abuse of a follower's child. Amidst the leadership vacuum, Drew reinvented himself as a religious prophet by deliberately suffixing the powerful Suri name Ali. There you go. That committedly connected him to 3 important sources of authority in the minds of Black urban masses. Caliph Ali, the image founding father of the Masonry, son of law of Islamic prophet Muhammad Ibn Abdullah. Duce, y'all know that, Muhammad Ali, an inspirational Pan-Africanist Garveyite intellectual, and the incarcerated Muhammad Ali, local organizer of the Canaanite Temple, as Canaanite Temple number 1 had legally been incorporated in New York in 1924. Drew embarked an evangelical crusade elsewhere under a new Moorish banner to restructure Suleiman's satellite temples and travel to several southern cities before establishing his headquarters in Chicago. So he got the game and ran the game. He didn't have the game before. He had a name, but not no game. He learned the game and he moved it to Chicago. And now remember, these dudes that we see every day with these feds just think that they from Morocco somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them will say that they eyeballs, like they just as scattered as the other Muslims.
Can I share my screen, bro?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Let me share with y'all what got these boys on the terrorist list. Oh, here you go tripping again. What I gotta do this time? Go to system preferences. I wish they never did this. They changed it.
Oh yeah, they updated our computers.
Check Google. What we got? Okay. Click the lock button.
See, why my shit ain't get updated?
You ain't got a Mac.
Oh no.
That's why.
All right, there we go.
Windows game, man.
All right, I gotta restart Chrome. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Sute. What were you saying?
Nah, I wasn't saying nothing. I was interested in what he was about to pull up. I was assuming it was the sovereignty nonsense. But I don't know. We'll see. Free range Moors. See what the chat talking about. Bring Wesley on.
Yeah, where Wesley at? Here he come.
All right. A second, pull this shit back up. Can you see the video?
Yep.
All right, listen to this.
Nothing came in that
so me and my wife are watching American Greed, and we have found the origin of the sovereign citizen explanation that, you know, groups give you, like the Moors and
it
like
remains a mystery for a year.
they about to show
Until
you
the FBI
right
gets a
on
tip
here
that the Demetrians may have
where it
joined an
comes from.
extremist anti-government group known as the Sovereign Citizens.
Oops.
What was unusual is when we found out that they had fallen in with a domestic extremist group. This is not our area of expertise, and so we needed to get smart about the Sovereign Citizens movement, what they believe, what their likes are, and what the movement's all about.
The movement has connections to other far-right anti-government groups. Terry Nichols, a conspirator in the Oklahoma City bombing, considered himself a sovereign citizen. And more recently, in 2010, 2 Arkansas police officers were gunned down in a traffic stop by members of the Sovereign Citizens. Not all followers are violent, but the movement is marked by a strange ideology.
The Sovereign Citizens movement actually believes that the U.S. government has secret accounts in the names of every U.S. citizen out there with hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in those accounts, and that by doing weird court filings and things like that, you can access and compel the U.S. government to pay your debts for you.
Some members
This
of the
shit sound
movement
familiar,
hold
family?
seminars expounding their beliefs about why people shouldn't pay taxes.
Oh,
The FBI believes that John Demetrian, in the days leading up to his sentencing, discovers the Sovereign Citizens
family,
online.
being pseudo or get
recognizes
you locked up
kindred
by the
spirits.
FBI.
It was kind of a perfect
Be
marriage
careful.
between this domestic.
I know
Wow.
it sounded familiar, but I ain't done. This is the guy, John Michael Demetrius, wanted by the FBI, failure to appear for doing what? Mortgage fraud. All them people talking about you ain't gotta pay your taxes, you ain't gotta pay all that. So he was putting it into practice. They looking for his ass right now. You can get up to 10,000 of them things if you know where he at. So
Wow.
he discovered this sovereign citizen doctrine that goes all the way back, you know, to the 1800s. I found, and could be even more. They're still doing research on that, but this is an idea, you know, where the Moors got it from. They got this. We don't have to pay taxes. We don't have to, you know, do what the government say. We sovereign citizens. They pass out ID cards. You've seen the ID tags on the back of the car. Word for word, line for line. And we following them. Again,
man.
God damn.
So let's do a quick recap. What is there's nothing African about what they do. Like nothing. The Fezes come from Turkey. The doctrine come from white folks. He copied the Aquarian Gospels. That didn't come from him either. Like it's a cookie cutter culture that we've bought into, and we are imitating folks that didn't come from us at all.
That's
It
true.
is what it is, man. It is what it is.
That's the truth. Yeah. So ain't nobody over here that's sitting here talking all this stuff on Facebook. They saying this or that. They ain't doing nothing. They got some made up stuff. And it gets worse. It's even more made up because he Noble Drew Ali sold it to people, and they still think it's law. They still think it's law.
Man.
And he uses the words like metaphysical and esoteric to you know, to give him a little cushion between reality and his ideology, because it's so murky in there that you can't really hash out the truth of that.
But what I want to say before I get off of here, man, this crazy ass doctrine that y'all done copied from white folks got Corin Gaines killed, man.
Mm-hmm.
That young black queen lost her life because she bought into what y'all was selling. And when she died, the only thing I heard was she ain't filed her paperwork right. That's some fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit. Ain't no money going in her family pocket. Ain't nobody taking care of her son. None of that. Y'all hid behind that bullshit white folks doctor that you copied, and it got that woman killed. And it's got many other people locked up. You can go online and look and say Moorish person fails in court, Moorish person gets arrested, Moorish person, and see how many people get locked up for that shit every day. Go in there wearing fezzes, get out wearing chains and orange. Some fucking bullshit. But yeah, man. Go chill with my kids at the movies, man. Y'all have a good day, man.
All right,
always, man.
What y'all want to see?
Oh, we're gonna see that multiverse movie. With the Asian woman.
Okay. Yeah. I need to do that.
All
yeah. Let me know what that's about.
Double.
All right. But yeah, man. We got to work, man. I mean, we got to work. So, I don't know. Let me look. Let me go back to the post. Cause Devon, I don't know if you in here. If you in here and you listening and you ain't saying nothing, if you want to get on the panel, bro, you can. It's your post.
I sent him the link. He said, thanks for the invite. I think he just want to listen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, he had commented. It was like, oh, okay, cool. But his question and the reason that I went into the Moorish stuff and I started putting it on the screen, dang, I just scrolled out past it, is because Devon's post is speaking directly to something. But the minute you start getting the other contributing factors into this conversation, it brings us right back to NOI Moorish stuff. And as you can see on down the thread, we start getting this Moorish stuff and more of the Moorish stuff. You know what I'm saying? Look, many Moors practice Islam too in Africa. You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't even really know who was a Moor and who wasn't a Moor, or what it meant in what time period and who they were actually referring to. They just so suddenly use this word, and then all of a sudden it's just for us in America to practice some shit because they feel like this is a staple name that links the two that moved across the water. No, bro. This Moorish stuff that they started over here is what was started over here. It has no connection to nothing in Africa at all. And so you see, you get apologists coming on. A couple of sisters, you know, they stood their ground, and you know what I mean? They were like saying how they felt about it, you know. And then you had some blackology thrown in here again. See, another sister. Arabs are not the creators of Islam. See the difference? You got one sister who right here says the destruction of African civilization is a great book and really breaks down the history of the Arabs. And to be honest, the Arabs are still enslaving Africans till this day in East Africa. So you got this sister saying this, right? You got this sister saying, she talks about Christianity, then she flips it. If anything, African spirituality is supposed to be practiced, if I'm not mistaken, and researching the lost books of the Bible, etc., and visiting the countries where it's still a thing, Ethiopia, etc., it would be more clear. I don't know really what she's saying. She's talking about colonization. And then, but this sister, she says, Arabs are not the creators. Islam was colonized by the Arabs and used against us just like Christianity to colonize. See the confusion here? The origins of Christianity start in Ethiopia. You see the confusion here? But we practice a whitewashed version today, like many Muslims practice a Arab oppressed version today. See? Confusion? And look who she quotes. I would suggest looking into who? Wesley Muhammad, because he's broken this down many times. So she appeals to the authority of Wesley Muhammad, who is absolutely incorrect.
You got to start getting into Wesley Muhammad.
Right. So Ruth Anna, and I think I've seen Ruth Anna before. Yeah. She's my friend. She come on and watch what she do. Christianity did not originate in Ethiopia. They were the first African nation to adopt the faith. Islam also did not originate in Africa. Because Ruth Anna, she'd have been on plenty posts with me arguing with people. That's how I knew I recognized who she was. And then she comes back. The term Middle East is new, but it has never been a part of Africa. The only dummy is the one who created you. So she arguing with somebody who arguing with her somewhere that I can't see because I think
I'm gonna have to add Ruth Ann so she can start helping me.
Yeah. She come in and throw them haymakers.
I see. I ain't even pay attention to them motherfuckers.
Yeah, she come in and throw them. She gonna throw them. Look, she correcting Gal. That's not true either. The Middle East has never been a part of Africa, and I don't know why that girl still saying that. But anyway, but it is what it is. And you on that? There you go, right there. So there's confusion here, and part of that confusion goes back to what we talked about the other day, when people don't have the ability to think critically for themselves, that they'll appeal to authority and they don't come to an honest conclusion based on their research or their understanding of information. They just, run amok. And I think that is crazy, because we sitting right here and we done went through 2 chapters of this already, critically thinking, and we done built on that. And then here we are seeing it, displayed on social media, as this book told us that that social media is a stumbling ground for fucking up information. And then let me see. Now this one I actually agree with you. This is one of the biggest slaps in the face to our ancestors, for our people to follow the Arab man's religion after they helped put us in slavery and still can't stand our people. And then, did the sister say something? But didn't we sell ourselves first? What the fuck? He said, no. It's a long story. Judah says, Devon, man, don't agree with this pro-black in public. I got a white woman in the closet ass dude. I give him undeniable facts about us being Israelites, and he still want to believe these motherfuckers here. So this dude think that he's an Israelite. He done called this man a name. Devon, he just said you got a white woman in the closet and all of that. He done try to demean you on your post, bro. Then he got 3 loves right here. You gave him love. And you said, and even offered to teach you. You remember that? See if you could let me teach you, and you wouldn't have to ask questions. You would be sharp as tool. Hey, send this dude the link. That's why people think we Africans. What?
You the
and
Reese.
then Arab religions and then Christianity. Devon, you might want to take your hard back, bro. Because you harding some stuff that 2 pseudos is harding. And the 2 pseudos is this chick right here and the chick above this chick. They both, I ain't personally calling them like pseudo, but the information they kicking is hella pseudo. And then here we go. We got another system. You can only present the information and presentation alone. Does not mean it is received. People are stuck in their ways and pretty much the way that they were raised until they walk through their own awakening. So leaving a religion is like coming out of the world as being gay. People do not want to make a drastic life change to bring them shame. I don't know what the hell she's saying. I ain't got time for it. It's too long. L and R interchangeable. Allah equals. Islam is ancient Kemetic temple science.
We know where you got that from.
Oh my God.
Wesley Muhammad again. He popping up.
Oh my gosh. Black people, boy. Earliest days of African civilization, there was a pure Islam for sure. for sure, in the earliest days of African civilization, the 7th century was not the earliest days of African civilization. I was raised Muslim and it wasn't a whitewashed religion. Sound like an apologist. But y'all see the problem here. I don't know why they posted this shit. Don't do nothing. And then here go this apologist. Ever been stuck in traffic? You start doing stuck stuff. Have a whole stuck agenda. And look, realism versus Allahism and the Quran. Damn, fam, you got a lot of Islamic apologists on your page.
He going at it.
Huh?
Yeah, Larry going at Islam. He said,
yeah, I know he is. But Larry be saying some contradicting stuff.
Yeah, he do be fucking up sometimes.
I be having to watch Larry. I'm real skeptical of his behavior. That boy said. And then look, he just dropped Dr. Ben book. He ain't say nothing. Man, this post thick. Golly, this post thick. That is correct. Prior to 633,
they quiet now though.
There was no proliferation of Islam in Africa. It was when Arabs invaded Africa in 639, 640 AD. Yeah, Ahmed. Okay, I got you. But they quiet. Somebody shut them up. You went on there and shut them up.
I see that link.
Yeah, that's right. They do see that link. What up, Mongo? What the chat saying? I'm in Hotel designed the Kaaba. Pure retarded, bro. What's up, fam? This is Devon in the barbershop right now, but y'all held it down. I learned a lot from y'all, bro. Oh, okay, that's what's up, bro.
Yeah, he sent me the same thing.
Okay, that's what's up. Definitely didn't mean to give him a heart. He's a Hebrew Israelite. Nah, you know, I'm teasing you about the heart, bro. I don't even care if you liked it or whatever. I was just messing with you. He said, don't tell Sabir Bay that bring Sabir on. Man, listen, bro.
He don't want, he ain't gonna come.
Yeah,
bro's not gonna come. He want to stay on his platform so he can dictate, mute people out, kick people out. He want to do all that. He don't want to have no conversation. He want to have a cult.
We got an update at the football game. CJ Mack got him a sack. That's what's up, CJ. Proud pop moment, y'all. We got to put it on the Summer Jam screen.
Yeah, bad boy, babies.
You gotta keep working. He gonna have more than one sack. So he got a moat on him.
And but wants money to conversate or debate on his channel. Man, he must be out of his goddamn mind.
Let's go back to the Moors. So it's fun talking about them and the NOI. Look, Noble Drew Ali's esoteric New Age wisdom had racially positioned the Japanese alongside the Egyptians and Arabians amongst the divine Asiatic nations in the Circle 7 Quran. But Drew could not possibly have foreseen the permitting influence of Japan's Black Dragon Society propaganda, which cajoled Black organizations in the 30s. So he used something. Let's go look this up. Black Dragon Society. We live. We really can go all the way there. So let's grab a little wiki so we can get a little understanding. We ain't got to stop at wiki. We just want to understand it. Its name is derived from a translation of the Amur River, which is called the Heilongjiang or the Black Dragon River in Chinese. Its public goal was to support efforts to keep the Russian Empire north of the Amur River and out of East Asia. So what does that have to do with Black people? We got to go in here and see. During the 20s and 30s, evolved into more of a mainstream political organization and publicly attacked liberal and leftist thought, although it never had more than several dozen members. At any point in time, the close ties to membership of the leading government power and its dentching. Okay. Still beating up on
Keep
Russia.
going. You'll see it. You said keep going. You about to see it.
Well, down here.
Nah, in the history part.
Oh, hold up.
You see,
20s and 30s, indirectly Russia 30s, active world, Turkey, Morocco, United States.
That's it. Turkey, Morocco, United States. That's all the places they pull from. Them fezzes, that word, that term bay, Morocco, United States. There it is.
Look, it says activities in the U.S., the Ethiopian Pacific Movement and the Peace Movement in Ethiopia, both African American. Black nationalist organizations claim they were affiliated with the Black Dragon Society. As part of the effort to support such organizations, the Black Dragon Society sent an agent, Sokoto Takashi, to promote Pan-Asianism and claimed that Japan would treat them as racially equals. He would become a patron of Elijah Muhammad and the nation. Oh,
Dagger.
Yep.
This nigga's Pan-Asian.
Yeah. So the NOI and the Moorish people are Pan-Asians. They
Another
are
Takashi. Another Takashi strikes.
Yeah, sure is another Takashi. Wow. He will become a patron of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, as well as the Pacific movement of the Eastern world. Wow. So let's go back to the book. Now that we know that. All right. So it says they embraced the pro-Japanese, black messianic, nationalistic proclivities in the event of Japanese invasions of America. The Moorish faith system became easily impregnated with the external ideologies and influence demonstrating its power's boundaries. Conversely, there was a need to determine the degree of patriotism toward America, since Jew original attitudes had capriciously oscillated from brief insidious flirtations in the 1928 overt American felt by the 29. Pan-Asiatic, rigid Pan-Asiatic international order antagonistic towards Washington, and then the Moorish American theologians could no longer depend on Jews. Anachronistic 1920s matrix of double consciousness of constitutional adherence to American and mytho-genealogical. Look, mytho, y'all. Genealogical Asiatic brotherhood. So when they saying the Asiatics are black, this is why they say the Asiatics are black. They black on the grounds of a partnership with the Black Dragon Society of Japan, a coalition between them, because that society had a disdain for the American government as well. So it's easy to align themselves with people like that. And it says all Moorish groups flirted with pro-Japanese revisionism, different only in the degree and extent that they acted as their beliefs. Kirkman Bay's temple quickly gravitated toward the drapings of Japanese Pan-Asiatic blueprint over Drew Asiatic Muslim core. And so it goes on. This influenced Flint Moors such as Rose Bay to look toward the Japanese to survival in 1942. So this Moorish Science Temple of America is source for whatever support that's necessarily needed came from Japanese agents. It is what it is. Look at that. Prophet who was arrested 3 months later, Father Prophet Muhammad Bey's Moors were arrested in Kansas City for evading selective service, prompting the FBI office to begin a thorough investigation into different Moorish Science Temple of American leaders. Golly, bro. This ain't nothing but a damn rabbit hole. This rabbit hole almost worse than the Hebrews. Dealing with these dudes is worse than the Hebrews, bro. They got too many handicaps, and this book tells on them. And they don't never, they don't never address this type of work. Cause this work right here.
Yeah, you gotta drop that.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop it. But look, what's crazy, and I'm gonna say this is I think some of the information that's actually in here, I've seen it somewhere before, but they never said the source. But
Garfield, probably.
But a quote, nah, it wasn't that motherfucker. You getting warm though. You warm. This is crazy, bro. Yeah, let me go on and let me do that. But that's the gist that you got to go through. It's 7-0 North Houston Oilers up finna start the second half. I'll peek back. All right. Yeah, Tekashi, bro. Pure Black said Tekashi. Yeah, not that Tekashi, the real Tekashi. The Japanese Tekashi.
Yeah, that nigga named Tekashi and he a Mexican.
Right.
What the hell?
Yep.
Yeah, I tried to send a link to the Carlos brother who was going back and forth about saying that where all this shit started at.
Oh, yeah, he did. This book killed him, bro. There you go. You have to download it. But yeah, he did, bro. Any one of these American sects. Sunday, I just said this is embarrassing. Look how easily we're duped. Yeah. Ogun, what up, dog? He says, Allah salam alaikum. Alaikum salam. Yeah, man. We here. So ain't no running from the truth, man. And I ain't trying to get really my goal wasn't to get into these people practices, because to tell y'all the truth, man, I just like to deal with certain aspects of
yeah, man. Don't nobody care about them rituals and all that, man.
I'm not trying to get into none of that. This thing is, I don't care nothing about your theosophical roots, none of that stuff. All I'm saying is the history of it. Once we can historically understand what your origins is, you can't tell. I don't care nothing about nothing else. Cause you the one living a lie. I ain't living no lie. I'm not invested in it.
And they gonna maybe pull out that hidden origins of Islam book.
Oh yeah.
I don't want
that. Did you talk about Elijah Muhammad being rolled up in the carpet under the bed? No, I got it, but I have not. I was dealing pretty much with the all these made up people. But let me go back to that, because this is just the next chapter, the chapter that we was just in.
That boy was hiding from them folks, man.
Yeah.
Did he get found?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I mean, all of it's fake. And then you get Wesley Muhammad teaching the bull junk, bro. Hold on, let me put this on the screen. Let me put this back on the screen.
Yeah, we the Arabs. We are the original Arabs.
Oh, go said, oh, never mind.
And motherfuckers like Sabir Bey take that work and use it for his confirmation bias.
I gotta make sure that y'all can see this on the screen, like for real.
Let me get on my phone, see from YouTube.
Okay, yeah, look, this I blew it up as big as I can blow it up.
Yeah, that's good.
Can you still hear me?
Yep.
All right. So Minister Farrakhan both perpetuated and further interpreted the metaphysical doctrines of Elijah Muhammad. The mother plane or mothership played an especially important role in Farrakhan's thought and religious experience. In 1985, while in Mexico, Farrakhan described a religion vision in which he was transported to the mothership, where he heard the voice of Elijah Muhammad. This spiritual vision was interpreted as a sign that God had chosen Farrakhan to lead his people in the final days. In the 21st century, Farrakhan made an alliance with the Church of Scientology, and various members of the NOI engaged in Scientology practice called it auditing, which focuses on self-knowledge. The two organizations interested in science, technology, and especially extraterrestrial beings became a common ground for cooperation and demonstrated the seriousness of the NOI's long history as what some students of new religious movements have called UFO religion. So that's what they're calling it. But it's mighty funny that Farrakhan said he had a vision.
You got to insert the X-Files music.
Oh yeah, you're right. Damn, I ain't got it up for that. But you have to think about that. This is what we're actually dealing with when we're talking to these people. And Islam gets a pass in America. So, you know, for those of you that have purchased the book and have received the book, and if you I don't know if you started reading it or not, but to whomever that may read the book, right, you're going to come to an understanding of where we actually go toward that. But I don't deal too much with this African American Islam stuff. All of that to me personally is some fraud. It's fraud because, you know, they're faking it. They're faking it until they're making it. They're using it to manipulate and recruit. But I do want to say this. Why come all the most pseudo people say they got abducted by aliens or well, they've been on the mothership. Think about that. Who else said they've been abducted by aliens and been aboard a mothership? And people took them seriously, and then they grew an immense amount of followers.
York.
Besides York, more recently, look at Juju comment.
Polite.
Look at Juju comment.
Oh, Young Pseudo.
Young Pseudo is the most recent, unless Nature Boy done said it after, but I believe they probably said it at the same damn time if they did say it. But this is what black people gravitate to. Look, in viewing Farrakhan and the NOI is beyond the pale of Sunni Islamic Orthodox or U.S. liberalism in the 20th century, critics sometimes miss the important changes Farrakhan introduced to the NOI movement since recreating the group in the 70s. While still maintaining the NOI's unique Islamic theology, Farrakhan also introduced traditional Islamic Friday congregational prayers at Mosque Mariam. Like W.D. Muhammad, he asked believers to celebrate this month of fasting not during Christmas time, but during the regular Islamic month of Ramadan, which is what they're currently in, right? He invited W.D. Muhammad to NOI events and members of both. Muhammad and Farrakhan's communities have worked together on various projects, including contemporary efforts to insert a strong African American voice into discussions of Muslim American identity. What the fuck is that? But this goes on like this gives you some work here. There's some work here. Especially when we want to, and I'm only just trying to deal with these people from that because they ain't practicing Islam. They're not. Look, they're not practicing none of them main sects. So, real quick, I want to put this on the screen real quick, and then I got to show y'all this because I want to keep it on topic. I know I kind of ventured off to make fun of the Moors and all that, and the NOI in the process. But I do want to hit y'all off with this just to bring the conversation back full circle, because I don't know if we're going to get somebody to hop on with us and build.
0.8 billion. With 1.8 billion followers, Islam is the second largest and fastest growing religion in the world. Reports predicted that by 2050 Islam will substitute Christianity as the largest religion in the world. This is our new mini-series on which we will talk about why and how is Islam divided into different sects, and what are the differences and similarities among different schools of thought in Islam. The first episode is just an introduction to the major divisions of Islam. Islam is mainly divided into two groups, Shia and Sunni. About 87 to 90% of Muslims follow Sunni Islam, while 10 to 13% of Muslims follow Shia Islam. There is another sect that is not very common and is nowadays limited only to Oman, is Qawari. The difference among Muslims arose soon after the death of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The major difference between Shias and Sunnis is over who the true successor of Muhammad is.
They don't look black, do they?
Believe Ali ibn Abi Talib is the true successor to Muhammad, while Sunnis consider Abu Bakr to hold that position. The Qawari broke away from both the Shias and Sunnis during the First Islamic Civil War and subsequently opposed both the Shias and the Sunnis. Also, there are several differences between Sunni Islam and Shia Islam. We will talk about these sects in detail in later episodes. Sunni Islam is further divided into four major categories: Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, and Hanbali. 35% of Sunni Muslims are Hanafi, with the majority in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Syria, Turkey, and the UK. Shafi and Maliki both cover 25% each. Shafis are in majority in Indonesia, Malaysia, Palestine, Jordan, Afghanistan, Egypt, and East Africa. Maliki covers North and West Africa, Kuwait, and UAE. 15% of Hanbali are in Saudi and Qatar. The names of these sects came from the founder of that school of thought. These schools are named after Abu Hanifa, Malik ibn Anas, al-Shafi, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal, respectively. Imam Abu Hanifa was born in 699 AD in Iraq. He was a student of Shia Imam Jafar Sadiq. Contemporary to Imam Abu Hanifa in Iraq, Imam Malik was a premier Islamic scholar in the city of Medina. Imam Malik was also a student of Shia Imam Jafar Sadiq. Imam Malik's most notable student was Imam Shafi, who later became the founder of the Shafi school of thought. Shafi was from Medina. He went to Iraq to meet.
Let me pause this real quick. Is that Africa?
Shit, it don't look like it to me.
Oh, okay.
It look like Africa next door, but nah.
Okay, so it looked like Africa's a neighboring. Okay, all right. Okay.
The Caliph of the Abbasids. There he met Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal, the founder of the Hanbali school of thought. Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal studied Islamic law from Imam Shafi. Thus, two of the Imam Malik and Shafi were from Medina, and the other two, Abu Hanifa and Ahmed bin Hanbal, were from Baghdad. In addition to four major divisions, Sunni Islam is further divided. In Southeast Asia, the Hanafi school of thought is further divided into the Barelvi and Deobandi school of thought. Hanbali school of thought is modified into Wahhabism and Salafism. All the prominent Islamic scholars were directly or indirectly students of Shia Imam Jafar Sadiq. Shias form a majority of the population in Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Iran, and Iraq. Shia Islam is divided into three main branches: Twelvers, Ilamilis, and Zaydis. Twelver Shia is the largest branch of Shia Islam, with estimates saying that 85% of Shias were Twelvers. Twelvers Shias believe in 12 Imams, while the Ilamilis and Zaydis believe in 7 and 5 Imams respectively. Ismailis gained their name from their acceptance of Ismail ibn Jafar as the divinely appointed spiritual successor, Imam, to Jafar al-Sadiq, wherein they differ from the Twelvers, who accept Musa al-Qadim, younger brother of Ismail, as the true Imam. Ismaili and Twelvers Shia consider their Imam, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his daughter Fatima as infallible, while Zaydis do not attribute the quality to the Zaydi Imams. This is the end of the first episode. In later episodes, all Islamic sects and their branches will be explained in detail one by one. We are open to any kind of...
So I wanted to kind of throw that out there just to bring it back to what's going on. And as you can see, he go to other videos that they get more in depth with for anybody. The video link is in the description, and you actually can go and grab all of that you want to. So I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the beginning of this particular book. And I want to get into past all this junk. Not in a disrespectful manner. I'm just saying it's in a way of what I'm trying to get to. So here we go. This is the introduction to Islamic sects. So when the brother says it, you know, after listening to Panther's answer, and usually this is what happens. Panther will answer a question that the brother ain't even really is saying. So we can understand what Panther is saying when he says yes, but we don't know this brother's answer at all. He just said there's African Islam and Arabic Islam. And then he goes on further. Let's go back to it just to analyze the perspective. And remember, in critical thinking, we possess the tools to be able to properly assess these things. For those of you who've been following the critical thinking class. So what is he saying? Because a question was asked. He says, actually, it doesn't. Islam descends from an Ethiopian spiritual order that worship the daughters of Allah. This was adapted out of the Sabah, which is in Saudi Arabia. They took from Kemet science and the Sabaean culture to create Islam. So you see how he's saying something totally different than what Panther says. Panther agrees with his initial assertion here, right? Because when you break down what this means, you can extract that. However, when he goes and does this, then there's the point of disagreement here. Because he made the claim, right? He says, I agree with you, but there's African Islam and there's Arab Islam. They're different. His conclusion was that there's differences between what Africans practice as Islam and what Arabs practice as Islam. But then he goes in and he says this is his support, right? So to support his initial statement or claim, he provides this, and then he gives us this information as if this is a sort of evidence. So we have to see this in early Islam. If we don't see it in early Islam, then he's misconstrued. As a matter of fact, he would be incorrect if we just use the archaeological record, because the archaeological record in Ethiopia doesn't show Islam anywhere on the continent until we start seeing them have little signs and burials and things like that at the Horn. To vaguely say Ethiopia, you can't say that because it wasn't all over Ethiopia. Ethiopia had its own deities and things of that nature, and Christianity present and all of that. But to say Ethiopians or Ethiopian spiritual whatever, that's too vague, and that doesn't actually hash things out. And we don't even see the practice. We don't even see a mosque in early Ethiopia in the 7th century. Go find me the mosque. Go find me the archaeological evidence that would actually support what he's saying. And I don't think that it would be great if we got him on here, because you asked him for a source, and his source is ancient Kemetic science in Islam. Do your research. So somebody's gave him this claim, and he's telling you to do research. And this makes no sense. Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, there's no such thing as ancient Kemetic science. So now you would have to look at where that word derives from. That word is an African American imposed word on ancient Kemet, and it's New Age. So that causes problems within itself. Given the presentation of Islam in popular media, it is not surprising that most Westerners, including some scholars, view the faith as static, monolithic religion that clings fiercely to the 7th century roots, resisting any attempt at change. This is, of course, far from the truth. In common with other faith traditions, Islam has been a dynamic force from start, with the adaptations stemming from individual leaders, diverse ethnic populations, and cultural contexts in which religion took root. And then it goes on to say all this other stuff. Then it talks about al-Bakr shortly after Muhammad's death. Then you go on and you see such innovations as Islamic thought is not restricted to the past. Modern reformers have continued to push the envelope, sometimes being met with comparable disdain by other Muslim groups, false prophets, and the whole 9 yards. So it happens. But we answer Sutek's answer Sutek's question about that portion of Islam that people saw before all this other stuff. And then you got the 3 groups right here that they actually mention are the diverse sects of Islam. And we just played that other video going there. But I don't see him answering the question the way Panther answered the question when you go back and you look at the way you and him had that dialogue. And I doubt that he will go any further with you in trying to explain or elaborate, because just basically saying daughters of Allah, Ethiopian spiritual order that worship the daughters of Allah, that's not going to help us. This ain't going to get us nowhere but into a wild goose chase. I don't even know. Sutek might be. He's still here. But yeah, man, I want to just kind of leave that right there. What up? What up? Jehuti Ma'at is in the building on the ones and twos. But yeah, so that's where we are with that. We got a lot of confusion going on in the community. And as you can see, it's only African Americans that are having these conflating dialogues. And it's not just them. We have brothers in the UK as well that are Islamic apologists and have messed things up as well and muddied the waters and had not adhered to anything that other people have to say about it. And they take the notion that because Islam was there for thousands of years, then it's right. Then it's African. Ujah will be saying that about white people. He be saying like the Europeans that been in South Africa for 300 years, he be saying they African now. And I'd be like, hell no, I'd be fighting them on that. They colonizers. They still colonize. I don't care how long they've been there. They DNA still take them back to Europe. And people still look at them like they colonize. But it is what it is. Oh yeah. So here go the link, man. Anybody want to come on the bill? I don't know what Sutek at. He ain't saying that right now. I don't know if he ordering some food or taking his medication. So that's the link for anybody that want to actually join the stream. And Bill, also the link to the book. I don't know why I keep dropping the link. It's in the description and it's tagged. If you're looking at YouTube, it's tagged. But you can get your the Coming of Islam in Bilad al-Sudan off the Rizvi right here. He said the offsprings of the vampires cannot be seeds of the sun in my city voice. Juju says you hitting that shadow Sutek. He hitting something because he went on mute and ain't came back, bro.
Nah, I'm right here. I sent the link. I seen Bashir online. So I know he was one of them that say Islam came in peace. I was just watching one of his videos the other night, so I dropped him the link to the video. If he looked at it, I was gonna drop him the link to the panel so he can come on, chop it up, and tell us how Islam came in peace.
You know, Bashir ain't gonna have, man. Ever since I corrected him on Garfield, I ain't had no other shot at Bashir.
Yeah, see, he don't know me though.
Nah, he don't know you.
He'll hop on.
I don't know, bro. Bashir funny right now. But I put the link in the chat though. Come on, hit the link, join us, man. Anybody is welcome. If you got something you want to speak on what we built, you know what I'm saying? Remember, don't just agree with us because you have an agreeable position. Agree with us based on evidence, not what we say. What does the evidence say? Right? Because the build is there such a thing as African Islam or Arab Islam? You know, be able to look at the information, break that down, and answer for yourself, and then be confident in where you are in that position. But in no way do any of us want you to agree with us, because we're not taking your ability to think critically away from you. We don't do that on this channel. We just present information and provide you with whether it's primary, secondary, tertiary sources for you to be informed properly. Where y'all at? Juju running too.
Islam came in pieces of sharp steel called swords.
Thanks.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's been synchronized just like Christianity in the age of desperate. Yeah, even in the syncretism, it okay. So let me ask you this. So because you just said it, that's why I'm saying you run it. So in today's age, right? Is syncretism still needed? Is syncretism still necessary for something culturally to survive? Who will answer that question honestly? Is syncretism still a necessary tool? Is that at Titan Stadium? Yep. They're at Nissan Stadium on them motorbikes. Man, we could have went down there, bro. I'm tripping, bro. I like the monster trucks better though. But nah, for real. Answer the question, y'all. Answer the question. Is syncretism still necessary in this day and age? Do we still need to hide our shit in other people's shit? Yes or no? Jehuda said only if you want to keep things secret, in his opinion. Juju said yes. Can you elaborate on that, Juju? Why would we need to hide it? What are we trying to keep? All right, so my follow-up to Jehuda would be, what the hell are we trying to keep secret, right? Generally speaking. And then my question to Juju would be to elaborate. Yes, but what? And for the record, Toronto is up 11 points on Philly with the ball, and it's 4 minutes left in the game, and dude just took a dumbass 3 for Toronto. So if the Sixers go on a run right here, they're probably going to close them out. Remember, it's 3-0 Sixers. Come on now, don't run, y'all. This is fun. I want to know what y'all think. Uh-oh.
She said she ain't right.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The Islamic apologist is here.
I didn't think I was being an apologist.
No, I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
Dude, like, I think I'm one of the few people kind of, well, besides you and a few others, who really don't like cheerlead for them at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I may not get involved in some of the discussions because I know that it's definitely a sensitive matter in the Black community, especially when you talk about the NOI. So, yeah.
Don't you think that's bullshit though? Like, we can scold Christianity left and right. We can beat up on Pastor Bennett all day long, but the 1 second that, you know what I mean, like,
you go against them.
Yeah.
Oh, you're attacking our Black history. They were the forerunners for Black liberation movement. Like, you get all this, and I'm like, well, you know, you particularly and other people pointed out some great points. Like, really, where? Like, where? So, no, I think it's unfair, and it's only because we're appealing to authority. You know what I'm saying? Personality worshiping, because it is Elijah Muhammad or Louis Farrakhan. But now, in the past, I'll say 10 years since we've been having these discussions in the community, and it's been revealing some facts about the originators, like fraud or whatnot. So I think people are thinking about it a little differently, and that's a good thing.
Alan says, Allah Akbar. Kemet did not in America. There's Alan comment.
Oh, Rob Bourne in the building.
Yeah, Rob Bourne in the building. But I think that
answer the question for me, because maybe I'm not clear. When you're like,
yeah, do you think that in today's age, do you still think that we need to hide or syncretize, our traditional cultures in these Abrahamic faiths? Is the role of syncretism still necessary today?
No, because our culture, the circumstances aren't the same, nor are we the original culture, so to speak. And I from what I know and from what I can attest and articulate, we are also, creolized or synchronized species, so to speak, being that we are indoctrinated, ingrained in Westernized European American culture, but we are of African genetics, descent, essentially, right? So it's kind of like, it's the same thing. We are what we do. You feel me? So now, no, because those was like Africans trying to adapt to a culture that really wasn't theirs and utilizing the tools that they were aware of to fit their paradigm. So, I know everybody has different definitions, but that's definitely a definition of culture. And what I learned in my studies at FSU, culture is defined as any and everything man superimposed in nature for survival and well-being. So in order to survive and have mental, well-being and be able to deal with this kind of adverse, tumultuous, violent, scene, society, environment, they did those things, yes, we're going through it, but we're not necessarily them, so we don't necessarily have to do those things. We came up in that indoctrination, so to speak. We came up in that synchronization, so we are that, Did that make sense?
Yeah. I think that the way that I would answer that question would be no. Once we can fully understand what we included in this syncretism of these, these different Abrahamic belief systems and how we used it to do what, then we can remove them from them. We no longer need the other side of it.
Okay.
And the reason that I say that is because if we added it for it to serve a purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we added it for it to serve a purpose and to help solve something that we faced at that time, we're no longer facing that
Right.
anymore. So if we extract it from that, then it doesn't need to be there. But if it's something that we're still using to support us today in this day and age, then, you know, I guess it's still going to play a role. However, I just don't see that.
Right.
So that's why I say what I say in regard to all of that. Oh man, what I didn't even know this troll. I didn't even know that person that he talking to was in here.
Right. Me neither, Sean.
She be blocking herself from
So,
people.
Judy,
I see it.
Judy, don't put me in that. No, sir. I ain't said a word. I just hit the link. I ain't said a word about to nobody. Don't have the time and space, dear. Not in this.
Teddy, what book you reading so far? What book you reading?
Reading the Coming to Islam.
Oh, I ain't know.
Shoot, don't come then.
What she say?
Shit, that's why she don't come over here.
Oh, oh, okay. Oh well.
The new book.
Right.
al-Sudan.
Moving on.
I'm following you.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, man. I gotta get your hands on that.
I'm definitely going to get it. But yeah,
Juju, I mean, I know we far away from. I'm glad you came on too, because I need to drop the link so that we can support. But have you directly talked about things?
Clarify.
Have you like publicly spoke toward what's going on health wise to other people, not what me or you or anything like that, but publicly to other people? And by the way, I do want to shout out a sister that supports everything that we say, and that's it says I ain't gonna say her other name, but it says Tina Jackson on here, so I'm gonna let that slide. You know what I mean? But the sister always supports. Matter of fact, she just bought like 4 books.
Nice.
Yeah, so shout out to her for her contributions to you, Juju. She just did it about 20 minutes ago.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you know that.
I appreciate that. I don't.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know. So others have been telling me. So you, Sean, I don't usually throw the name unless people tell me it's okay, but you and maybe 1 or 2 more were the first people who knew.
Right.
You know this. Because I was still in the doctor's office that day that I was sending you stuff asking help. It was spoken about publicly. I wasn't aware. It was okay that it was done. The thing is I've been advised not to really speak on it. So other people, you or anybody else wants to speak on it or do things to push the GoFundMe. My sister did that under professional advice because she works for hospitals and she deals with this type of thing as a profession. And doctors and whatnot, letting her know that this is not only is it very like what's the word I'm looking for? Rare. So here's the thing with rare stuff. It don't get like the same support that stuff that may be a little bit more common do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't have the weight or the foundation yet. So it's, it's a hit and miss sometimes. But she was told, like, things are gonna be very It's going to be a strain financially for the most part. It ain't no easy way out. So my aunt supports me, Aunt Mildred. Y'all know her.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
She digging into her retirement, doing things for me. But, I can't really speak on it. Other people can. We can speak on the subject matter, but I can't speak on my personal case. Is that clear?
Yeah, no, I didn't want you to. So I just did something to try to throw you over, but of course you already know anonymous is me. if you look at it, anonymous is me. There's two anonymouses, but mine is today's anonymous.
Okay.
I
don't keep access like
yeah.
We're trying to have checks and balances and transparency, because people gonna come for me and ask questions. That's why I know you. I don't know how to say this nicely, but you and other people have attested to the what's the word I'm looking for? I get so dumb. I've been a little bit all over the place the last couple of days, so sorry, but the authenticity, of what's going on. So, yeah.
We had 10% of the goal, guys. It's a long journey, and our sister need our support no matter how people feel about it.
Thank you.
Things of that nature. So we got to do the best that we can to do it. It's been some nice contributions forthcoming. So shout out to everybody who just gave anything, $5, $10, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $1. You know what I'm saying? Contribute, because they will try to hit the sister with a fee anyways, but we want to make sure that we can do all that we can. So as long as you donated and things of that nature, you know what I mean? You basically are saying that you're doing your part to assure, what needs to be assured here. However, we probably need to do a show and talk about what it is that we talked about that day that you was if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because we on Islam right now.
I know.
so do you have time to talk about that?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna start another show.
Okay.
I'm gonna end this one, and then we're gonna go on KPRT, and we'll get into that, and we can see if we can, do whatever we need to do and educate people about the circumstances and things of that nature, and let them know the severity of the situation.
Yeah, because Sean, I'm about to tear up, but you already know.
Yeah.
When I sent you that stuff, just I had to stop researching. Because you read it, and I had to stop. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I know.
And I know, like, my support system here, he get mad at me because he like, you ain't finna die no time soon. You ain't nothing wrong with you. You fine. You're good.
Well, that's how we supposed to feel.
Yeah, but I mean, it helps me like get out of that because I'm already kind of a depressed person. You know what I'm saying? I already overthink things. Yeah. So it's the worst thing to happen to me. You feel me? Because I know too. So, it's not like being ignorant. I'm like, oh, kind of head in the wind. You know the reality of what you're reading, and it becomes your personal, and that's scary. You understand?
Absolutely, I do understand.
Yep.
So we're gonna be on Kofi Potside TV in about 5 minutes. Sister Juju, I'm gonna send you the link. I think Sute gonna join us, but I'm gonna end this and wrap this up, and then
thank you, Sean.
We're gonna crank it back up. No problem. So get ready. I'm about to set it up now and send a link.
All right, Modupe, Santisana, Adupe. Yes, I love y'all for this. I do.
Problem.
Yep.